Hello Topaz Studio users, this is Joe Jasper and I'm going to talk to you about ways to remove color cast from an image. This is prompted by a question from one of our fellow users, Jack, who asked about white balance or white neutralizer, which is the same. So here we go. This is an image I scanned from an old slide, indoor shot of me flirting with some mannequins back in the 1980s or late 70s, I guess. And you can see that the the fluorescent lighting in this store, Marshall Field's, has a greenish yellow over color cast to it, pretty much throughout, but mostly affecting the brighter areas. So I said we're going to talk about 4 different methods of doing this. The first is to go into adjustments in the right panel here. This is a free adjustment that comes with Topaz Studio, which is free. Click on Basic Adjustment, and if you do not see all these controls, then you probably just have a preference setting that says not to open automatically when you click on adjustment. You can change that. But under basic adjustment, if you just click on that caret, then you get all these controls down below with sliders or things to click on. So we're just going to click first on auto white balance, just like you have in Lightroom, Photoshop, and many other programs. And it does an okay job, but not great. Let's see if we can improve on that. Not bad. If we just lower the saturation, looking pretty good. So that's method number 1. And let's go ahead and apply that so we have it for later. Come back to our original and trash the adjustment. I'm just going to duplicate that for now. And then the second method also makes use of basic adjustment. And if we scroll down, we see different sections in here. And the bottom one has to do with color. You see this eyedropper. And so I'm going to click on that eyedropper and go up into what should be a white area, because I know that this ceiling was painted white. And I'm going to click on that. And you can see, again, it's doing a pretty nice job. I think I do need to back off the saturation a little bit. It looks great. Very similar to what we got before with auto white balance. One thing that will be a common theme here is that much of the color contamination from lights is going to be most apparent in the highlights. So we can tone that down by going and using a mask to our adjustment. So right next to the name of the adjustment is an icon. If you click on that, the mask appears. I'm going to invert that mask by clicking on this dotted triangle here. And then I'm going to click on Luma and white. Again, go up to the highlight area. And it automatically is giving me this nice gradation where black, the shadows, the darkest shadows are black, and things in between are a little better looking. Let's turn that off and on. And just look at the color of my jacket, for example. Off and on. And we get a nice warmer look. It's almost too cool if we just apply the color improvement to the entire image. Okay, so if we want, we can make that mask a little more dense, I think, by sliding, click on the adjustment to the mask. These sliders, slider controls come up, and we can adjust the contrast too, make sure the blacks are really black, and that's looking really nice. I I still think we may have a bit too much color. So I'm going to back that off a little bit more. That's looking great. So that's method number 2. Let's get to method number 3. Method number 3 is going to use a color overlay. So again, this is a free adjustment with Topaz Studio. Come down to either color overlay in the list, or because it's a commonly used adjustment, they do have a shortcut here. Just click on this one. It brings up color overlay, and right now it's set to white. But we want to change that, and what we want to change it to is the opposite of the color cast. So we said it's yellowish green, so it's going to be kind of probably a more lavender or something like that that we're going to need. But I don't want to just guess. So one of the things I can do is to again apply a mask and invert the mask. And then if I come down to what color I'm working with down at the bottom here, I can use a screen color picker. Click on that, and I can come up and find it's kind of a pale yellow. So I think I'm going to be kind of into the purpley area. And one of the things you can do is probably, since the hue range goes up to 250, is either go up or down by 125, which would be 188, and let's see if that's pretty close. It looks a little too blue probably for what we're going to need, so I'm going to come over this way and see how we do with something kind of periwinkle-like there, and click OK. And now if I invert my mask again, I can see that things are looking better, but look at how it's affecting everything like a pastel wash has been applied. So what we can do is just say, instead of normal for the blend mode, so under color overlay here, these are the blend modes. I'm going to come down and pick hue, and that's looking pretty good. And see how much we need to apply to get pretty close. So if I need to, I can tweak this color a little bit and see if moving one way or the other is better. And if taking it down a notch or sliding it up or down is better. And I'm going to come back to our previous image where we had the mask. Click on the mask, go to the hamburger menu and say copy mask. And click on the mask for this one. Click on the hamburger menu and click paste. Oh, didn't carry over. Let's try that again. Mask, copy mask, mask, paste mask. Well, let's just do it over again. So invert the mask, click on Luma, click on white, come up here, and then if we need to, we can adjust the contrast and the density of the mask to give us how much we want that to affect it. That's pretty good. And you know, I've selected a little different hue here. And again, we can play with how strong that is. If you like a soft white light or a harsh white light. So that's method number 3. And if this area is looking too violet, you can get out your brush and start with one that's almost white and see if you like that better. If it's still too violet, you can get a little stronger with your brush and return it to something a little less violet, like that. And so let's move on. Let's do method number 4. So method number 4 goes to adjustment, but this is a paid one. So this one, you've got to go down to HSL Color Tuning if you own it. Click on that. And again, if it's not open, click on the down caret. And as you hover over the different colors here, you can see in the image, especially where that color looks like it is, a little marching ant type things appear. And we can see that, yes, indeed, those colors are present in what should be our white ceiling. So let's click on yellow and decrease that. Let's click on orange. And I don't want to lose too much of it, but I do want to bring it down to where it should be. So there you go. We've removed the color cast in 4 different ways. First, by clicking on basic adjustment and use auto white balance, and then with basic adjustment using down in the color section the eyedropper tool and clicking on the contaminated area. Method 3 was using a color overlay, the color being the opposite of whatever the contamination is, using the hue and a mask, again, luminance mask, a slider to adjust the intensity of it. The color appears in the little box down here and can be adjusted in the color picker, so it can be tweaked a little bit in different ways. And then the final method was to use hue saturation and luminance, the HSL Color Tuning Pro adjustment. And I think that one looks very good too. I did not apply a mask to this one, but it looks really nice. So that's 4 different methods. I hope this was helpful and not too confusing. Using a mask is key sometimes because the color cast in an image is often very different in shadows versus highlights. And so don't forget to use a mask when you need it. All right, goodbye.